and I completely fell in love with classical guitar. I had the occasion to listen the original Torres, and I was completely shocked about it. For most aspect, it's the best classical guitar in the world. So I believe with all my ideas and all my heart to this kind of sound. For this guitar, I worked my entire career. So, well, I started playing guitar and felt completely in love with guitar when I was just a teenager, you know, I was 14 and 15. And after high school, I started becoming interesting to, know how guitar works, okay? And I completely fell in love with classical guitars during my experience during the School of Luthery in Milan. There is a very professional School of Luthery in Milan. And I graduated there in 2011. And after some months, I opened my workshop and I would become a professional guitar maker. So I put all my energy and all my strength for this work. In the first years, maybe the first and the second years of my workshop and my work, I had to decide which guitar and which sound I love most. And it was a day that I had the occasion to listen to Torres, original Torres, and for me it was. And I was completely shocked about it. And so I think that it's the most spectacular guitar I ever listened. And so I followed that line. So I started studying the Torres project, the idea of sound of Torres, the building method you used to build guitar. And I completely fell in love with that. And so I thought that it was important for a young guitar at that time to believe in a project. So I believed with all my ideas and all my heart to this kind of sound, this kind of method, this kind of guitars. I'm 10 years now that I build in this kind of guitars, and I'm very proud of it. For me, it's for most aspects, it's the best classical guitar in the world, because it has a lot of energy, transmits a lot of emotions, and it's the color of the string, the color of the single note. Are perfect because are warm, rounded. Of course, on the bass register, but of course also in the treble ones. So every single note, it's like a little drop, So it's very fascinating because it has volume, it has projection, and. But also it's the Torres guitar surround the guitarist. So it's like an orchestra. You have the cello on the bass register, and you have the highest violin and the sweetest violin on the treble. This kind of a guitar, it's I call it Torres replica. It's an homage. It's an homage to a Torres work. This guitar is inspired by a classical guitar made by Antonio de Torres in 1867, and it's like this is my homage to his work. So the decoration are very traditional Torres style. So you have the meander on this particular inlay on the head plate, and this very beautiful rosette and mosaic with little squares around the purfling on the table, and this very beautiful birdside maple for back and sides. You know, this guitar for me, it's I work for this guitar. I work my entire career because I think it's the perfect match between the needs of the modern guitarist in terms of sustain, in terms of presence of the guitar, but also it's perfectly stuck in the Torres tradition and in traditional sound, so with a very warm and but very focused register, very focused notes. The soundboard is in spruce, Swiss spruce to be precise, and yeah, Berset maple for back and side, and Spanish cedar for the neck. It's a really good question because I believed with all my heart that the Torres project it's not completed yet. You know, he invented that kind of guitars in the 19th century, but his idea for me it's not complete anymore. Okay, he tried he experimented a lot on the bracing, on the fun strut, on the structure, and for me, I think it's fascinating that in 2024, lots of luthiers are inspired by that kind of idea of sound and put something that is personal inside the guitar. Of course, I cannot say it's a copy, and I don't want to make an exact copy. It's very difficult to make a perfect copy of the kind of guitar. For the first reason, the guitar is new, so it doesn't have so much decades to be played. But I think it's very interesting that every luthier who was inspired by another great luthier of the past put something of his idea of the quality and his idea of timbre and colors on the sound in the guitar he builds. I'm inspired, completely inspired, but I cannot. This is my guitar. I put my sign on it, you know. These are the only two projects I built. So this one, like I said, it's my Torres copy, and with Berset maple for back and side. And this one is my personal project, okay, that is inspired also by the Torres idea and the Torres method of construction and method of construction building the soundboard. But it's a little, how can I say, it's a little more reinterpretation of the sound in a little bit more modern key. For this kind of instrument, I have used my design for the rosette and design for the purfling. The shape of the guitar is the same, but I especially used for this kind of guitar. I usually use Indian rosewood to have a little bit more, projection in the space, and the rosewood is very different from Berset maple, and it's a quality of the timbre is a little bit more brilliant. In this one, instead, the timbre it's a little bit more warm and soft. Starting with saying that there are not so much difference between the two guitars. Okay, the only thing that I'm searching for this kind of guitar in my design is to have a guitar that is a little bit more brilliant. So the treble are more powerful, more projection, and all the registers during the fingerboard are well balanced. It's a little bit complicated, but let's say that the Indian rosewood, it's very important to set the quality of the timbre of the guitars. Because the birdseye maple particular quarter, not quarter, so birdseye maple. So it works in a different way from Indian rosewood. So it's absorb a lot of energy, and the result is the timbre. It's very hot, very softly around you. The Indian rosewood has the characteristic to have a little bit more brilliant characteristic inside of it. I don't know, it's the most important thing, but it's one of the most important thing, using the back and side of different woods. And also in this kind of model, I try a little bit to have a little bit more reinforced internal strut of the soundboard. And in this guitar, this soundboard is very light, it's very resonant, and it's very soft, it's very responsive. In this kind of guitar, to have a little bit more sustain and a bit more power from every single note, the soundboard is a little bit thicker than this one, and the internal fast strut it's a little bit more reinforced than in this one. Just to be, I think that these two things, Indian rosewood for back and side, and this little bit different from internal soundboard elaboration, are the two things that for me are the most important to change the quality of the guitar. Okay. It's not there is not a best one or a bad one. They are a little bit different, but I think that every guitarist belongs to a kind of guitar. So it's important that every guitarist try and maybe he finds out that his right hand or his left hand are more secure on this kind of guitar, or maybe this one, and it's very personal. For me, this work started, how can I say, started like by a chance of destiny. I met 15 years ago. I met a friend that is a luthier, and entering for the first time in his workshop with all the perfumes, with all the quality and the cure for every single details, they fascinated me. So I completely felt in love with that, and I think that every luthier stay good to work alone. We are good working alone. So we are in our workshop. We are safe. Yeah, there are 4 walls around us, and we are in our secure place to thinking about and listen to music constantly, and thinking about what I want to give to the public, what I wanted to show, and what kind of sound I wanted to transmit to the young guitarist and old guitarist, and what my idea, and it's a safe place to work, so it's comfortable for me. It's comfortable to work there.